Coaches, consultants, and course creators. Are you tired of feeling like your business is stagnating? Is your dream to get out of having to sell your stuff to be able to focus on just making your stuff better? How would you like to spend your day just focusing on client delivery instead of always trying to find new clients? In this video, I will show you the process to set up a scalable service-based high-ticket business that doesn't have you doing everything. I will also cover the most common pitfalls I see 99% of business owners making in this industry. And this will all be free. The only thing I ask of you to spend is your time and attention. At the end, I'll even give you an opportunity to get some additional free support as well. Why? Because number one, this is my passion, and it's incredibly fulfilling to know that I get to help others, especially during a time when everyone is really just trying to take from each other. And number two, this is my opportunity to show you the kinds of problems that we can help you solve. And if you're looking for a custom tailored solution to your own business, working together will just make sense. But before we dive in, a little bit more about me and why you should even listen to a single word that I have to say. My name is Frank, co-founder of the Closer Lab, where we work with founders of service-based businesses who are frustrated with their lack of sales growth. Working with them, we help optimize their entire sales and marketing process to help them achieve at least 20% growth on top of freeing them from having to directly sell themselves, all within 90 days. Personally, I spent the past decade mastering sales and sales leadership for high ticket sales. I've invested over 6 figures into my own training and development, and I worked every sales position from setter, closer, team lead, sales manager, sales department head, VP, you name it, I've done it. I've also been a B2B growth consultant for 9-figure companies in the pharmaceutical, manufacturing, and service industry space as well. I've helped businesses sell products and services for as little as $50 and as high as $10 million. I worked in almost every industry that has a high ticket offer. What I've come to find is that this system has a 100% success rate with course creators, coaches, and consultants. So that's what I'm going to focus on for this video. If you're not in that specific niche, you're still going to get a lot of value out of this video, but I will be narrowing down on industry specific strategies as we get moving along. Now, if you're still watching, grab someone to take some notes with so that you can start implementing these strategies right away for your own business after this video. So let's start with the most common mistakes I see business owners like you making every single day. Number one is lack of clarity. When we're just trying to keep the business running, it's easy to lose track of where we can actually create true growth opportunities. Think of it like the old adage of having to take an hour to sharpen your axe before you just start trying to hack away and chop trees with a blunt tool. I see a lot of business owners trying to use very, very blunt instruments and just trying to brute force their way through a bunch of stuff here. It doesn't work, guys. Take the time, sharpen your axe. Number two is lack of process. If I were to ask you, does your sales and marketing even follow a process? If so, is it repeatable? Is it based on milestones that you can actually track? Is it documented so that when a new hire comes on board and they jump in, can they start performing right away? It'll just take them 6 months to even figure out what the hell's going on. Number three, lack of sales management skills. 99% of founders that we work with all say the exact same thing. Cannot wait to get out of sales themselves. Problem, they don't know how to vet, hire, train, and ramp people up to actually take over for them. Even if they can get someone on board, they have no idea how to manage those people effectively. Now, to keep this video from being like 2 hours long, today we're going to focus on the biggest problem that I see every single person coming in with, lack of clarity. And just like we can get house blinds, our own messes at home, it's very easy to incur a lot of what I like to call ambiguity debt when you're trying to really just bootstrap your own business here. And anywhere there's ambiguity, there's a lack of execution. Remember that. It's a big reason why most founders stall out, because they just don't know what to do next. And it's usually out of fear for making the wrong decision. I mean, we always learned in school about the fight or flight response, right? But what's left out is a third and even more common response, especially in business, which is freeze. It's not just fight or flight, it's fight, flight, or freeze. It's why ordinary people watch stunned as traumatic events unfold in front of them. And it's what stops people like you from making big moves in their business. And it's what just causes stagnation. I can't blame you. If you don't know what to change or even what's actually working, how can you be confident enough to know the next big move you make is actually going to work out? It all comes down to clarity. Clarity inspires confidence, and confidence is a catalyst for proper decision making. And proper decision making is literally your number one job as a business owner. So to dive into the nitty gritty here, the first thing I like to look at if I were working with you would be aligning your offer more effectively with your target market and target audience. Clarify your strategic messaging and setting up a data-driven sales game plan for growth. And since we're talking about clarity, let's identify some terms here and get really, really clear on language. Your offer is defined as the outcomes that your clients achieve, which is different from the steps to achieve those outcomes, which is an important thing to distinguish here. I see way too many founders just selling bells and whistles and hoping something's going to stick. It doesn't work. For example, if I was selling personal training, my offer is not the number of sessions I provide each month, the types of workouts I use, or the dieting that will be involved. My offer is the results provided. For example, 10% reduction in body fat in 60 days. Notice how specific with the results and the time frame achieved. It's all about delivering clarity. Now, next we have target market. Target market market would be the overall business segment where your ideal clients exist within. It's typically defined by things like career stage or business phases. Are they just starting their career as a business and startup? Are they scaling as someone already towards the end of retirement? Industry focus. Are they in tech, healthcare, creative fields? Revenue level or business size. Or for the individual person, their capacity to actually invest in coaching. Or for example, current business challenges within the marketplace. Your target audience is the specific person who would actually engage with your services, i.e. the person who's going to buy from you. And it's typically characterized by things like their professional identity. Are they a founder? Are they executive? Are they an individual contributor? What are their personal aspirations? They want to scale to 7 figures. They want to retire by the age of 40, or I want to lose weight. Psychographics, like what are the values, belief systems, and learning styles? Life circumstances, what's their time availability for investing in a high-ticket program? What are their family obligations? What else is going on in their life? As well as communication preferences. Do they prefer group settings? They prefer one-on-one? They want someone they can do self-paced, or someone that's more cadenced and organized? All things are important to identify within your target audience. So we use this as an example. Let's say you're a business coach, right, who's focusing on women-led businesses. So your offer could be scaling business operations to over 500K annually while giving the founder back time in the form of a 35-hour work week within only 4 days of actually having to work, right? Let's say, and we do all this within 6 months of implementation. Now your target market, it would be online service-based businesses making 100K to 250K annually, primarily in the wellness and personal development space. Your target audience would be female founders, age 35 to 50, who are ambitious but overwhelmed, value work-life balance, and prefer intimate group settings over large programs. So you can start to see how we really want to start to narrow down on these things. And these distinctions are particularly important in service-based businesses, because while your target market could potentially be very broad, your messaging needs to deeply resonate with that specific individual making the decision to actually work with you. So let's walk you through the 2-step process and how you can actually use this new clarity around your offer, target market, and target audience to actually craft your own effective strategic messaging here. So step 1, craft essentially a hook that identifies your newly clarified target audience and their common problem that your offer solves. Step 2, present the potential outcomes of your solution using specific language, including a time frame by which these outcomes are actually attained most commonly. So let's go back and use the example of the business coach we discussed just a minute ago. Now we understand her offer, we know where we are going to market to, and we know who we are trying to attract. So following the 2-step process above, we can create effective strategic messaging such as, I work with female founders of wellness and personal development businesses who are overwhelmed with their lack of work-life balance while trying to scale their business. Working with them, I help them scale to 500K while only having to work 35 hours on a 4-day work week, and I do it all within 6 months. And I do it without sacrificing client quality or personal boundaries. Now, we can see how we really tied all these things together. And this kind of messaging works because it states a clear financial outcome, the 500K, addresses key pain points such as time and freedom with specific metrics, 35 hours on a 4-day work week, and also provides a time frame by which you achieve those outcomes, 6 months. All the while addressing the common fear, quality of client delivery, boundary concerns, work-life balance, all of it. And just from establishing more clarity around your offer and who your offer is for, you should be able to see a dramatic increase in marketing efficiency, more qualified leads coming through your funnel, higher show rates to your sales calls, and easier closes overall. Think about it like this. There's competition everywhere. Every single market, no matter what vertical, how niche down you are, is oversaturated. There is no new ideas going on around right now, but that's okay. There's different ways to innovate on existing ideas. For example, let's say that you have a business coaching program specifically designed for women. Business coaching has been around for a very long time, but you are niche down specifically to want to empower women within a specific demographic because you know how they work. Maybe you're in the demographic yourself and you know you can achieve tremendous success with a very specific offer compared to just generalized consulting, right? That's one example. The challenge is there's probably a couple other people are also doing the exact same thing. So the true purpose of strategic messaging and why it's so important to start here is because this is what allows you to cut through that noise. This is what allows you to actually attract the right kind of people who you actually want to speak to. The more you personalize, the more you customize, the more you specifically target, the more your messaging and offer overall is going to convert. So you need to make sure we focus a lot of time and energy on really identifying, okay, what is my offer? What am I actually going to be providing people who decide to give me money to receive those outcomes? How quickly can I do it? And how do I make sure that I only speak into the people who I know I can help the most? And it is really the secret to all this is to keep your client's best interest at heart throughout the entire thing. As long as you do that, the money will eventually come. It sounds a little bit woo, but trust me, people, especially in today's day and age when they're getting 20 million offers for every every single thing in their life, they can sniff out the bullshit. And people in today's buying market, they want to have a relationship. They want to feel like they're actually taken care of. They want to feel like they're just another person taking a number on a board within some giant mega corporation. So be that difference in people's lives and have that resonate through your messaging. And now that we have clarity on our initial approach, we also need to make sure that we actually understand what we need to do to hit those growth goals. Remember, hope is not a strategy. Just winging it and hoping for the best may have gotten you to where you are now, but it is not going to get you to where you want to be in the future. So let's break down a super simple way on how you can craft a simple yet effective sales plan so that you actually have clarity on how to actually achieve your business goals. The first step is to clarify and most likely simplify your current sales process. Here's what a typical sales process should look like. As you can see, you have 5 main categories. Typically, this is how an average funnel is broken down. You have lead generation, you have a vetting call where you qualify or disqualify the prospect, you have a discovery call, which is essentially the start of your sales call, present solutions, and you close. And to save you some time, here are the gold standard KPIs you should be going for in terms of conversion between each of these processes in your sales cycle. So from lead generated to a vetting call, this should be at least 10% conversion. This is also known as a pickup rate. For example, if I make 100 phone calls, at least 10 people should actually pick up and have a conversation with me. If your contact rate or pickup rate is less than 10%, you either have a bad phone number, for example, using a virtual phone number, maybe it's already been marked as spam, or you were calling at the wrong time of day. So I typically always tell my SDRs, try morning, afternoon, evening across multiple days. You never know when people are actually available. Or your strategic messaging isn't actually resonating and you need to go back to making some changes there because people are just not actually interested in your stuff. Now, that vetting call, once you have them on the phone, being able to qualify and get them to show up to a discovery call should be at least 30. So this is assuming that half the people you're speaking to are actually qualified enough for your offer. And of that 50%, at least 60% are actually showing up to that discovery call. If your conversion rate is lower here, it's either because too many leads are unqualified or your show rate to your disco calls sucks. If there are too many people who are unqualified making it into your funnel, and maybe because your ads just are not hitting the right targets and either need an adjustment in terms of more spend, more time to mature, your creatives might be outdated, or again, your strategic messaging might need a little bit tweaking to make sure it's actually resonating with that kind of target audience. If your show rate sucks, but you're getting tons of people in your target audience who are qualified, it's probably because you're not actually providing enough value for them to want to show up to that discovery call. Or we're just failing to actually follow up proactively to ensure that they are showing up. And here's a big, really big common pitfall that I see way too many setters or even founders themselves who are still making their own vetting calls is they're trying way too hard to actually just sell the full program or the full offer on that initial vetting call. You're skipping way too many steps here. Remember, anytime you have a sales process is to simplify things, and we only ever sell the next stage of that process. So from a lead generated, right, we have cold traffic. We are just trying to sell them enough to get some information over, right? We hope our creative is good enough. We hope our strategic messaging resonates. All we're trying to essentially get them to buy into right now is just to give us their contact information so we can reach out and give them a call. Whenever we reach out and give them a call and get them on the phone, the only thing that we are trying to, again, sell them at this stage is on time. I want to make sure I can close them on time. I'm not asking you to pull out your wallet or spend a lot of money. I'm asking you to take an hour or 2 hours, however long your sales calls are, just get them to show up. But again, they need to know that they are getting something in return. The core idea of what sales is in general is sales at its core is a mutual exchange of benefit. You get something, I get something, and we both enjoy what we're getting, right? We are mutually benefiting from this situation. Now, just asking someone to show up to a sales call without aligning any value or benefit to them for showing up, there is no mutual exchange of benefit. We didn't actually close them on time yet, which is usually a reason why your show rates really suck to your discovery calls. A really easy way to do this is just to reframe what your discovery calls are. Instead of just saying like schedule a call, you can use language like, hey, book a demo where we're actually going to walk you through what this will look like for your business specifically. We're going to walk you through an entire action plan or strategy plan to make sure that you get value out of the call. And it doesn't matter if most people still don't close, you are still delivering value and you're still creating positive relationships because maybe they're not ready to buy right now, but as long as you deliver it and you actually follow through on your promises, this is the important thing. Like, don't promise them you're going to walk them through like a whole like case study or like an entire breakdown of their business and where they can improve without actually planning on doing that. That's pretty shitty. So make sure that we're actually following through on our promises. We're building good relationships. And especially if you're just starting out, you can just ask for reviews or testimonials like, hey, the only thing I'm going to ask you at the end of this call is just leave me a testimony review. I'm still trying to grow my business as well, but I hope what I give you is valuable enough that you'll spend 15 seconds, just leave me a positive review or go on Trustpilot or something like that. There's lots of different ways that we can attain this mutual exchange of benefit. But at the end of the day, what we're really trying to line down here is your prospects need to know that they're getting value out of a next call. And once they know what the value is, and as long as it is valuable enough for them to want to show up, all you have to do is just continue to follow up, have good check-ins, make sure your SDR is confirming, they got the calendar invites, the Zoom link's good to go. Whatever your process is, make sure there's no ambiguity. Because remember, ambiguity leads to lack of execution. If they're not sure when the meeting is, or if it's going to be a Zoom call or a Google Meets or a phone call, if they don't know what they're getting out of the call, again, all these things are ambiguity. This is going to lead to a lack of execution, which from their side of the field basically means they're not going to show up to the call. Okay, so clarity goes both ways here, guys. All right, so now that we've got them to actually show up to the discovery call, so when we're looking at the conversion rate from discovery call to presenting or pitching, it should be 90%, right? Meaning that you've properly qualified, you vetted, your SDR has set a good person onto your calendar. So that means that 9 out of 10 people who show up to your discovery calls should be good enough fits where you are comfortable pitching them an offer and closing them as a client. If this is lower than 90%, then you need to look at how you are scoring your leads on the front end of the sales process, or coaching your appointment setter to do a better job of vetting, and overall make sure that you are indeed meeting with people who are actually in your target audience. And again, that might need to go back to your strategic messaging. If that's not resonating enough, you're not bringing the right kind of people in that you actually want to speak to. Now, once you are presenting to them and then you're moving into the close, you should be closing at least a 25% close rate, especially if it's your business. No one should sell better than you as a business owner for your own business. Meaning that 1 out of every 4 qualified leads should be signing on as a client. If you or your team can't close at least 1 out of every 4 times for a very qualified ideal client, this should be a really big red alert for you right now. And it should be your number 1 priority as a business owner, because if you can't sell people who are good fits for your product, you're never going to make enough money to continue to grow your business. Nothing else matters. Like, stop watching this video, go figure out what the hell's going on with your closers or yourself. Like, we have tons of free content. Let us know. I'll be happy to send you a whole bunch of stuff on how to actually close deals effectively. But if you are getting decent enough people, but your close rate sucks, nothing else matters in your business. Let me repeat that. Nothing else fucking matters in your business. You need to sell those people, because if not, you're doing them a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice. That is the only thing that should matter right now. At the end of the day, deals solve all problems. You have problems, you'll close more deals, you make more money. You can typically fix those problems with money. Now, how to actually close deals with qualified leads is an entire conversation on its own and out of the scope of this video. But if you need help there, just let us know. We'll be happy to send over some additional free stuff for you to help you out there too. Now, one important thing to clarify here in terms of process, if you're running a simple like 1 call close from this format, then discovery, presenting, and closing will all happen on the same call. If you have a longer cycle, then each of those could potentially be like 3 separate calls or multiple calls per each individual segment. It really just depends on your business and how things function. For example, if you are a giant manufacturing company, it takes you 6 months to produce custom machinery. Probably not going to 1 call close people. You probably need to go through multiple layers of decision makers, multiple negotiations, and finally align on what the contract's going to look like. And it's probably going to be a multi-million-dollar deal. But again, those type of things don't really happen overnight. Different from selling like a $50 personal training course. Again, depends on your niche and what your business is. Okay, so now that we understand our sales process, as well as the KPIs we should be aiming for, let's put it all together to understand where our growth is actually going to come from. Now, to keep things simple, let's say that you have a goal of hitting 100K a month. Now, if your offer is $5,000, simple math, that means you need to consistently generate 20 new deals each month. Now, if your close rate is 25%, like we said, the benchmark should be, that means you need to attempt to close at least 80 deals every single month. And if we're pitching 90% of the people who show up to our calls, that means that we need to get around 89 people to show up to our discovery calls. Now, if overall conversion from vetting call to discovery call is 30, then we need to be having around 296 conversations with prospects every single month. And if our pickup rate is around 10%, then we need to be making almost 3,000 dials a month, or around 150 dials a day for a full 20-day work month. Now you have a clear idea of what actually needs to happen to hit your goals. It's just about working backwards and understanding what the leading indicators are to produce the end results that you're actually going for. Now, this might seem intimidating for some of you who maybe don't have a team. Like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to make 150 dials a day and work with clients and do delivery. Okay, yeah, that probably means that there's a bottleneck to you hitting 100K, and it's not just process, it's people. Again, this is designed to help you identify where the bottlenecks are in your business. Is it that I need to do more? Do I need to do better? Do I need to do it differently? Do I need to actually start to hire so I can get to the next level of growth that's important for me? Again, clarity allows you to make more informed decisions as a business owner. All right, so to wrap up, let's look at what we learned today, the most common bottlenecks to growth in our industry, how to get a clearly defined process around your offer, target market, and target audience, how to use that clarity around those things to create a compelling strategic messaging approach that aligns your offer with your target audience and allows you to cut through the noise of every other competitor out there in the space, and how to set up a clear plan for sales growth for your own business. Now, in reality, we're really just starting to scratch the surface here of what you need to do to set up a truly scalable business in terms like a sales and marketing and team building approach. And if you got any kind of value out of this video and think that a more personalized coaching opportunity would be of benefit to you in your business, then honestly, you owe it to yourself to take a moment to actually meet with me directly. This is not going to be a typical sales call where I spend the whole time trying to sell you into working with me. Trust me, old stuff doesn't work anymore anyway. This is an opportunity for you to receive a custom action plan identifying immediate bottlenecks and proven solutions to overcome those challenges. Not only that, but we will also identify potential future bottlenecks to your business and the steps that you should probably take right now to start mitigating them. So in the example we used before, we understood there was a bottleneck in personnel. What happens when we fix that bottleneck in personnel? What's the next bottleneck that's typically going to happen after you get enough team members to actually start running these offers? But I don't know about you, I'd rather be prepared for those challenges ahead of time and actually already have things in place than trying to scramble and fix things as they're breaking down. But that's just me. So in either case here, at the end of the call, you will leave with a clear plan on not just how to achieve your current revenue goals, but also how to scale your business beyond those initial goals, even if that's something that you actually want to do or not. So at the end of that call, you will leave with a very clear plan on not just how to achieve your current revenue goals, but also how to scale beyond those goals, if that's even something that you want to do, regardless if you choose to work with my team or not. So no matter what, my commitment is to make sure that this is the highest value call that you've ever taken for your business. If there's one thing that I've learned in over 10 years of working with business owners, is that we don't regret the things that we did. We regret the things that we did not do. So do not let this message from whoever needs to be sending you a message right now, and one way, do not let this be another one of those regrets. And if you don't see the value in our conversation the first 10 minutes, I'll do the favor and I'll hang up with myself. You go left, we go right. And even if you have no desire to work with me or my team long term, but you think this at the very least sounds interesting, then go ahead and book your demo with us so we can actually start showing you how to scale your business. No commitments, no hard sells, just your time. I look forward to meeting you personally.